Welcome back to The Forge. We have another big group to examine now, which once again gives us three sayings that are linked back into the first 18. And it continues this theme of going over what we've learned, reinforcing that, stopping us from stagnating or plateauing out. We're engaging with that knowledge that we had previously. So we'll begin with the first pairs, which is 6:13, which is in two sections, A and B, and that's linked back to the first 18, saying 1:14. So let's jump in on this and then we'll examine what it's about. 6:13a, whoever comes to know their father and mother will be called the son of a whore. 6:13b, when you make the two one, you will become sons of man. And when you say mountain move away, it will be moved. 1:14, when you see the one who was not born of a woman. This larger group, 6, 13, 14, 15, has the theme of relationships. Sometimes it's not so easy to see how it's all woven in together. But here we see in 6:13a, whoever comes to know their father and mother will be called the son of a whore. Now, there are many translations if you have other Gospel of Thomas books. But what this is about is the dowry system. The son of a whore is about people being used as commodities. When we think about prostitution, sex for money, here, what is being put before us is the dowry system that existed in the day of Jesus, in the first century. It was the system that was in use to bond families together, to secure wealth, to secure prospects, to create a controlled environment. It linked in those important families, kept the power and wealth at a certain level. When we see it as being linked in with relationships, we can see that human beings with a price tag and the control of the society that it runs through means that on a human level, there is no choice. People are being bought and sold. They have a price tag involved. They are very much the lamb to the slaughter. It's what each individual is worth to the system. It's quite horrifying when you look at it in those terms. But it's put before us because what it also does is create a control of the living spirit. Now that we understand ourselves as being non-physical and physical, we can see that if human beings are controlling relationships and marriage and birth of children and money and wealth and all of the control that goes with that, we can see that living spirits are at the back of the bus. There is no spiritual content to that. There's no way that any living spirit can affect the outcome in the physical world. They're simply pushed to one side. This is a purely physical business transaction. And mostly love and the human connection that we regard now, where you fall in love with a person because of attraction and because of this bond that you have. None of those things are there. Just two people being put together as a business transaction. So we can see why that has been put into one of these sayings. It is something that we must question. Now that practice still continues within many cultures, and it does exactly the same thing as it always did. 613b rolls on from that. When you make the two into one, you will become sons of man. When you make the two into one, this is talking about unity. This is talking about the realization that you are both physical and non-physical. You will become sons of man, sons of mankind. You will become people who know themselves as being undivided. You will become those unique individuals who are connected between the physical and the non-physical. That is your relationship when you are in that state. It is a much broader look at relationships. It is a relationship between the physical and the non-physical. When you say move a mountain, it will move away. Now, in some cases, this is interpreted as being the person being physically able to move a mountain from one place to another. But no, that's not what it's about. This is that enlightened individual who can internally move the mountain of the physical self and all of its programming out of the way, but also in that understanding of what you are, you can also challenge the ideas of the physical world as well, because you have a solid foundation. Your foundation, your cornerstone is based in that knowledge and experience of what you truly are. That is an unshakable place. So the mountain can be moved internally and externally. 613 in its two parts is linked to 114. When you see the one who was not born of woman, when you see the state of consciousness that you are immersed in, when you have that enlightened moment, that moment of unity, that is when you encounter that living state that was not born in the physical world. That is the place that we are being asked to search out and encounter. And once again, that is the foundation for a relationship to the non-physical that you cannot find anywhere else. So let's move along to the next pair, which is 614 and 1.7. Once again, let's just read these out, and we'll keep in mind that the theme running through here is relationships. 614. The kingdom is like a shepherd who had 100 sheep. The largest one went astray. He left the 99 and sought after the one until he found it. Having gone to so much effort to find it, he said to the sheep, I want you more than the 99. 1.7. The kingdom is like a wise fisherman who cast his net into the sea. He drew it up from the sea full of small fish. Amongst them, the wise fisherman found a fine, large fish. He threw all the small fish back into the sea and chose the large fish without hesitation. Those who have ears to hear, let them hear. You remember that 1.7, the kingdom is like the wise fisherman. And that has two perspectives. One is that the fisherman is casting, looking for the big fish. That is the teacher looking for the student. Everything else he puts aside. But we can also see that we are the fishermen. And we are looking out into the world to try and find the one teacher who we can catch and hold on to, who's going to lead us on the right path. Both of these things are happening at the same time. Both are looking for the other to catch. And it is the same with the shepherd. The shepherd is looking for the sheep. The teacher is looking for the student. The student is looking for the teacher. It is that relationship which is being highlighted here. Each side has to find the right teacher or student. And there are many on the path. There are many small fish and there are many sheep. What you are looking for is the exceptional one, the one who has potential, the one who is awakening. And you are looking for the teacher who has what you need, who has the breadth of knowledge, who has all of the spiritual wisdom that you need in order to awaken and progress. There are many, many, many spiritual paths that you can take. Many just take you to the edge of the well. What you are looking for is the path that gives you everything. So it's very easy to see relationships within this pair of sayings. So let's move on to the next set of two sayings so that we can explore this theme of relationships that bit further. Let's look at the last pair of sayings in this group. That is 6:15 and 1.4. Once again, the theme that is governing these is relationships. So let's just read them out and then we'll explore them after that. 6:15, Jesus said, "Whoever drinks from my mouth will become like me, and I will become them, and the secrets will be revealed to them." 1.4, recognize what is in front of your face, and that which is hidden from you will be revealed to you. There is nothing hidden that will not be revealed. 6:15 and 1.4. The theme which links these two is once again another aspect of relationships. Jesus is telling us, whoever drinks from my mouth will become like me. I will become them, and the secrets will be revealed to them. We are back to the line of Judea. When the lion enters you, it begins to eat away inside. And this is a link back to that idea that as you understand the sayings, as your perception and your senses change, as you start to discover the presence of the living Spirit, then you are linked to that Jesus consciousness, that global consciousness, which is bringing this message of evolution. It is triggering this evolutionary process through your connection to the living spirit. That presence with that global consciousness becomes a relationship that you have. It is the twinning process that starts to become very real, becomes very tangible. As your knowledge changes, your foundation changes, the fabric of yourself changes, the framework that your responses and reactions to the world are based on changes. When you drink from the sayings, you become the same source as the consciousness that was put into them. This is this continuity theme that runs through all of the sayings. It passes along from teacher to student. That is the relationship that you have now, not only with the sayings, but on a non-physical dimension. You're now connected to this higher consciousness because you are taking in the message that it brings. 1.4 reinforces that by saying to you, recognize what is in front of your face, and that which is hidden will be revealed. Recognize the process that is happening. Recognize that this consciousness is becoming you. You are becoming it. Recognize and perceive what is happening. And as I've said before, you will become aware of this presence. And there are going to be times when that presence is very strong. That is that link that you have to this higher consciousness. It'll happen differently for all of us. But it's asking you to be aware of the process that you are immersed in. That is not happening by accident. You were chosen by your living spirit because you are a person of potential. It is going to happen. If you are here and you are understanding and experiencing, this is not an accidental occurrence that is taking place. So there is this transformational message which comes through these 6 sayings. It's no longer really 3 sayings. It's really this linked group of 6:13, 6:14 and 6:15. Let's just look at that transformational message, which is again based on relationships. 6:13, our relationship with relationships. That is an extraordinary place to ponder. What is your relationship with relationships? And it covers all kinds of relationships, not just with people, your relationship with money, your relationship with belongings, your relationship with the community that you are in, your country. What are your relationships and how do they affect who you are? How do they direct the person that you believe that you are? There is also this example presented to us of the spiritless dowry system. And that's put before us as this example of how humans can not only control the physical world and reduce people to business transactions or commodities, but it is also the control of the non-physical, the living spirits who are affected by the control of human systems, because we only see ourselves as physical things that we don't take into regard the living spirit and how we can be an assistant on its evolutionary path as well. So it's your relationship, both physically and non-physical. 6:14 is about finding the teacher who can show you the way out of those unhealthy relationships that you've got yourself into. It's the teacher putting the path before you and all of those things that you need to understand and examine so that you can become an individual human. Now, many teaching practices around the world talk about non-attachment. It is a very overused term, but actually it fits quite nicely here. It is about shaking off those unhealthy relationships that you have because you understand them, because you are aware of them, because you suddenly realize, wow, my life is directed and shaped because of the relationships with humans and things that I have in the physical world. 6:15 is the one unifying relationship. It is your relationship to the non-physical dimension. It is your interaction, experience, knowledge, and immersion in that state of consciousness that is the one relationship that will change everything. That is you realizing what you are, what you consist of. And it is that relationship, that one relationship, that creates unity. That is you becoming undivided. So we can see how that theme of relationship runs through this group and why it is so important to us to understand so that we can progress on this path.